Welcome back to Tools and Tools. It used to be Tools and Track, but for some reason, this car will never run again. I mean, that's probably not true, but it's starting to feel that way. At the end of our last episode, we were having issues with the battery. Today, we're showing you how to boot mount a battery on a TVR. Oh yeah, and after all that, it's going to drive, I hope. Where can I land a battery in here? Down there, but that's where the roof needs to live. Finding a space for it in the boot isn't just the only issue we're going to have. Come with me. As you'll see, our tailored carpets are going to leave a bit of a gap. That box I want to have out because there's going to be no battery in it, so there's no point in it remaining. Also, it's just going to be loose now because the whole problem with the box is that I can't get it to bolt from underneath. If we take that out, we're going to be left with a box-shaped hole where there should be carpet. So unless I want to get a custom car mat to fit there, and I'll be honest, I've spent enough money on carpets by this point, I'm going to have to think of a different solution. But while I'm thinking, the first thing I need to do is just take this battery out. For the last time, rage. Right, somehow I'm going to have a battery that lives here. We'll come to that. I don't exactly know how, but that's where I want it to live. I'm going to have to throw a king lead, basically a great big red power lead that will positive everything forward, such as alternator, starter motor, all that good stuff that needs a big, thick, heavy live. I'm going to run that up here, and obviously that's going to pop out the other side, roughly where the door is. To get something through here is a bit tricky. So, okay, what we've done here is I've took this carpet back off, again, and we have run the live down through a wee drilled hole here, and along just under a wee channel here. I was going to put it through the sill, but TVR being TVR, for some reason I've completely filled the sill with foam. So that's now comes down here, and as you can see, pops out the bottom. Now it's time for us to pull this out and then terminate it wherever this new isolator is going to be. Oh yeah, isolator. Hey guys, I'm doing a bit more thinking. This won't resemble your car in the slightest, obviously, because most folk wouldn't bother. I did. Many moons ago, I made an isolator that sat on top of the battery box a bit like this. Now it's in typical Tools and Track style, massive thick plate, complete absolute overkill for what the application demanded. But the isolator itself is very useful, mainly because I park my car up for weeks at a time, and let's be honest, the battery will flatten, so it's just as easy to isolate the whole thing, cut the whole car off, than it is to just put a trickle charger on it and blah blah blah, and ain't nobody got time for that. In addition to this, underneath the passenger footwell, there's also lines that take off from where the original battery would sit. Now I don't have to re-terminate all this stuff, so it's going to be good to have something underneath the passenger footwell that associates a lot of lives. Now, this is going to be the best thing for the job, so I want to retain it. The only question is, where do I put this now that the box is gone? I think we need to have a wee sleep in this. Think about it in the morning. I think I've got a plan. I've actually looked at some of the comments we've had from the previous video, which has been very helpful. Thanks to the followers for that one. And we're going to completely change the plan. It's going to look a bit like this. I'm not happy mounting a big heavy battery down in this corner for a number of reasons. Not just A, it weighs an absolute ton. B, it also kind of eats into the space where the centre panel from the roof needs to go. I'm not really happy about that, especially because I'm probably going to put all this effort into it and then ultimately end up twatting it every time I take the roof off and put it in. So there's not really a great deal of other places I can put this. So we're back to the drawing board, starting from scratch. We're going to do this. This is a battery that's a lot smaller and a lot lighter, but it still should have the guts to crank the V8 over, especially from the other end of the car. Now we'll just need to look at some way of mounting it. Now this is the best place I can think to put it, mainly because it's not in the way at all. Probably don't need that anymore. So what we're going to need is a battery tray. That looks a bit better. Battery's in. All that remains now is the solid mounting that onto the firewall thing at the back. Would we even call it a firewall if it's fiberglass? Probably not. Then we need to rip all that back out and run on earth. Welcome back to another episode of Professor Bobag's School of Engineering. In this episode, we're looking at crimps. Normally for crimps, you get away with a tool that looks a little bit like this. Now, you normally use these on anything up to about 2.5mm wire, and when you crimp it, it will put on the end ferrule onto whatever wire you want to work with. Today, however, this is useless. The reason being, we need to crimp this. This, as you can see, is massive! This is 35mm squared cable. Now, the reason for this is, we have mounted a battery in the boot of the TVR, and it needs to run current from the boot all the way to the front of the car, so we have upped the gauge a lot. We're going to have to crimp on new ends to this to suit the new Odyssey battery in the boot. Now these have got 6mm holes in it and a 35mm end cap. Quite simply, measure the bit that you're going to go down to and take it off to there. There's really nothing for it in this instance, you're best going into it with a knife. I have not seen wire strippers that go up to 35mm squared. I might be wrong, I also don't own a pair. So there we go. With that off, this is going to go on a little bit like so. To crimp such a thing, I would recommend one of these. These are available online for fairly cheapness. This is a hydraulic crimping tool. These have got some pretty meaty dies in them. Run your cable through and support the end so that it doesn't fall off. Once in place, set your hydraulic gauge to on and then start pumping. Obviously, it pays dividends not to put your fingers in here, because no matter how much of a beefcake you may be, you will come off worse. Hot damn, that's pretty good crimp. Once completed, you'll have something that looks like this. Now, me being me, I like to put a wee bit of dressage on things, so I'm going to run a wee bit of heat shrink over this, just to keep the ends that aren't meant to be touching the battery from touching anything else. What's that dude's name? Lethal Weapon. Pulls his wrist out. The big bad boss man just like heat shrinks his wrist. Gary Busey played him, Mr. Jacob or something. I don't know, hit me up in the comments. Oh wait, Midgie! Look at how I got it. You beauty! Have that! Yeah, dirty wee. With that done, it's time to throw it in the car. Now obviously the other end will need done as well. It however will not be getting a small one. It's probably going to need like an 8 or a 10mm. That is a bit of a footy job to do on a bench. It's going to be much worse than the footwell of a car. Okay, I've also had a wee think about what we're going to do at the front. Now if you remember, I've got a big gap where there used to be a battery box and I need to find something to fill it with. Also, we need to find somewhere to mount this guy again. Well, as I said, I want to keep this, but similarly, I don't want it getting in the way. So, kill two birds with one stone. This is aluminium. I'd say it's about the same weight as the box that just came out, so, you know, because race car. Also, there's a nice opportunity for us to hide this at the back. Oh hell yeah, boy! That's a release because I didn't even measure this. Right, how much space have I got at the back? Yeah, we'll get an isolator back there. That means that I can just reach in and isolate it. And if I mount it low enough, i.e. behind the foot level, it's not going to get accidentally knocked and turned off. This is all coming up cheeky, really, isn't it? Wow, that was really easy. If only more things in life were this simple. Right, that's the foot plate done, with an isolator in the back. Now we need to run the two cables in and mount this for good. We also need to pull the wrap off, don't we? Oh no, we'll wait, we'll wait. Right, we're at the vinegar strokes of this. We're close, we're close. I've just crimped up the other end of the earth cable, and our earthing point is behind the tank here, this guy, you will not believe how glad I am that I've just managed to just take the straps off and the fuel return pipe and move this away just enough to get this in. For a little minute I was really worried we were going to have to take the whole tank out. And I'll be honest, I've been worried about it since we started this part of the project, which is why I've had that face, that continual face of despair, but we're going to do it. So we're going to nip this up, we're going to crimp the live, and we're going to see if it starts it.
And then it won't start, and then we'll spend another full season figuring out why.
Well, I've got to get content for somewhere, you know. Best tool that I have bought for this job. Not even like the Milwaukee Buzz gun, which is tremendous. This, see, having like a wee step drill, just in a wee Milwaukee thing. Just 1, 4, lovely man. Bang, there you go. Just like that.
I'll tell you what, I was outside the hotel the other day, and it was a day, things weren't going well. But I get immediately cheered up, and I'll tell you why. There's a builders called Kraken Builders, and the picture is a big arse crack dude leaning over. It's just the most genius piece of marketing I've ever seen in my life. You know something? This might be one of the coolest things you've done to this car.
A turbo on the front of it!
I know, but who doesn't like a relocated bat? Is that not cool? Look at it. It's wee. That's the type of fuel tank. I've never noticed it. Put a TVR on in front of this car, they're like, oh, I see the battery's gone. Where is it? Actually, interestingly, the two best mods you've done to this car are in the boot. The hydraulic strut, which I installed.
You did.
And the battery, which is baller.
I mean, I don't know whether to be fully offended or only partially offended that those are the best mods, but...
Bum 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 bum. This is dangerous.
This is the man with the golden gun. Which is where that stands comes from.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, actually, you put this in one of your quizzes one night, it was completely impossible. Back in the severe lockdown when we weren't allowed to do anything. Right, mate.
Right, guys, what do you think?
Is she going to crank, or is Tommy going
Crying myself to sleep again.
to... The isolator turn down? Oh,
Well, that's f***ing positive, isn't it?
the fuel pump's on. That's deeply impressive.
That's f***ing it off. We have success.
That is a mission accomplished.
It is not just one task mission accomplished, it's the whole car. Let's put a pin in this.
Well, it's been fun.
It's been awesome.
Join us next time.
We will probably do some more of the TVR, but it's not, I repeat, not going to be RESTO. We'll show you when it's out and
It's
finished
finished.
and running. Aye, it's done. On to the low cost and something else which is coming soon.
Probably my focus when it melts another piston, but
Fucking
something more interesting which is coming soon.
Stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Hello, mate. Hello, mate.
Hello, you Will this now close though?
This f***ing Gimbal hates me.
Shall we wrap it up here?
Can I highlight, by the way, so that my kid's got me this t-shirt? This is the best thing on it. I can't dialect.
Okay.
Have you seen this? Oh, hi.